Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Tool Talk TV. I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Jonathan Collier, Managing Director of Monument Tools. Enjoy today's episode. Before we get into today's show, a quick introduction. My name's Adam Callow from Tool Talk TV, and I'm joined by Jonathan Collier. Jonathan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Adam. Really good, really good.
Do you want to just give me a quick introduction to who you are, where you're from, because I've got a bunch of questions I want to get into when it comes to all things Monument.
Perfect. So my name's Jonathan Collier. I'm Managing Director of Monument Tools. We're a UK manufacturer of hand tools, which includes plumbing tools, roofing tools, and drainage tools. We are a fifth generation family-owned business, so we've been around since the 1880s as a family. And we manufacture as much products as we can.
Before I kind of get onto the product side of it,
Yep.
Tell me about the name. Where does the name come from?
So Monument Tools is, the brand itself was, I think the brand name's about 1930, 1932, something like that. But that we took that brand name from the Great Fire of London. So there is, in the City of London, there is a monument to the Great Fire from 1666. And back in the late 19th century, I should know, great-great-granddad had a business which overlooked from his shop in, I think, King Charles Street in the city. He could see the monument and he took that as his brand name.
Oh, love that. In terms of products, you mentioned you make lots of different products.
Yep.
How do you choose what you make? Because I've had the privilege of coming down to the factory and actually seeing things being made. And I get the impression that you can probably choose to make a lot of different things. How do you actually choose what you make as a brand?
We want to be very specialist in what we do. So we've always made plumbing tools. So if you go back to 19th century, we made sheet lead dressers. So if you look back at what a plumber did, a plumber would traditionally have done sheet lead roofing because pipework was also made of lead. So he was essentially a lead worker. And we've stayed down that roofing tool range of products, but we've also put in, because we did plumbing tools, we've also put in a range of plumbing tools. And then ancillary part of that is drainage. So we want to be very niche. We want to be plumbing, roofing and drainage. We don't want to get outside of that and run into things like plastering or any other ancillary trades. So very specific plumbing, roofing, drainage. And
then we look at the plumbing tools that you make. I kind of get the idea that you could still make a lot of different tools that are on the market.
Yep.
When an idea crosses the table, how do you sense check this is something that we want to make as a monument? Is there a criteria that you have to operate to in terms of what makes a monument tool a monument tool?
Good question. I think, again, if you go back to the 1930s, and certainly we've got some documented evidence of what we did then, which was we wanted to bring to market products that other people weren't bringing to market. So whether it was a hammer, I don't think we've ever sold a hammer. Whether it's a set of screwdrivers, we actually used to manufacture really tiny sort of screwdrivers you might get for spectacles or glasses, but we've never done a range of screwdrivers. We've never done a range of spanners. So it's always trying to bring to market products that nobody else is making. And then from there, potentially we get copied. So if you look at pipe cutters, for example, we started making those in the 1950s. If you look at basin wrenches, I think we started making those similar kind of time, the 1940s or 1950s, and people have copied those products since, but we would have put the patent in or a first design. Obviously, we want to make the range as comprehensive as possible, but certainly we have no intention of making things like screwdrivers and spanners and socket sets, which a plumber would potentially have in his toolkit. So it's relatively specific, but without going into that mainstream range of products that many other brands would have.
I think I've kind of had the pleasure of the last 3-4 years of working with the brand, and I kind of get the sense that everything that you make is, the best way to explain, kind of saving the engineer time on what he's doing. How do you think about that as a criteria for making products?
I think so we've brought that wording into what we do in the last few years. The engineer's time is one of the most valuable parts of their business. If you take a day to do a job or half a day to do a job and you're pricing the jobs per job, you'd much rather do the job in half a day and then go and do another job in half a day and get paid twice. It's not always exactly possible like that, but if we can save them just a short amount of time, make their life easier, That's what we want to get to with the products that we're making.
And last thing I want to wrap up with when we talk about the company, I can see behind you, you've got the hashtag Ask for Monument. Talk to me about what that means, because I've seen it on that, I've seen it on some of your workwear. It's become a bit of a theme across social media. Like, what's hashtag Ask for Monument?
Oh, brilliant. So,
guys, before we carry on with the interview, that was a loaded question completely, because Harry was actually down at the factory and got JT to do this. Back to the interview.
We want to try and live in the 21st century. We worked out a number of years ago that the world was going to end up in a mobile phone. The hashtag came in where we're trying to create a pull environment from our merchants. So what we would ideally love to do is have an engineer, heating, gas, plumbing engineer, go into a builder's merchant, plumbing merchant, and ask for Monument. And the hashtag came about where, because it's a searchable thing on the internet, we put in hashtag Ask for Monument.
Love it. Guys, hopefully you've learned a little bit about Monument tools. And don't forget, next time you walk into your plumber's merchant, hashtag Ask for Monument, and stay tuned for the next episode of Tool Talk TV.